Hey, I'm Duncan, but my friends all call me Dunk. I was so excited about finally leaving home and experiencing all the freedom and fun of college. I got lucky with my roommate, as Andy's a great guy. We have similar taste in music, so we spent our time going to concerts. Because of his popularity, he received invites to all the best parties, and I got to tag along. As amazing as being Andy's friend was, it also had its problems. You see, Andy's a handsome guy, and the girls couldn't resist his chiseled jawline and muscly physique. I wasn't exactly ugly or anything, but next to him, I felt mediocre at best. He was basically a girl magnet, and I became invisible to them. To be honest, I found myself secretly jealous of him, and this made me take a step back from the parties and the concerts. Even though I was obviously making excuses not to hang out with him, Andy remained nice to me. Some of his admirers gifted him chocolate and candies. Andy's probably the only person I know who doesn't like sweets, so he gave them all to me. Jackpot! I suppose that with time and lots of sweets, I began to mellow down. Andy was a great guy, and it wasn't his fault that he was a stud, so it wasn't fair to punish him for this. Things went back to normal, and I took my place as Andy's average-looking sidekick. Then I met Rosie. She's cute, funny, and super sweet. It wasn't long before I developed the biggest crush on her. The problem was, she was pretty much in love with Andy. Rosie was always showing up with gifts for him and going out of her way to flirt with him at parties, but he remained uninterested in her. One time at a party, I saw her sitting alone outside. She looked upset for some reason, so I gave her a drink and tried to cheer her up. She went on about how much she loved Andy. Then she looked at me with wide eyes and begged me to help her get to know him better. This sucked, but I couldn't exactly tell Rosie how much I liked her. At least helping her out meant I'd get to spend more time with her. Rosie and I began to hang out more, and in turn, Andy hung out with us too. I don't think Rosie liked the concerts we went to, but her face lit up every time Andy rubbed shoulders with her or shot her a smile. It was a weird dynamic, but it worked. At least until the evening Rosie drunkenly confessed her love to Andy. He turned her down, and after that, things were super awkward between them. Not long after that, Andy started dating this girl called Belinda. This upset Rosie, but she tried not to show it. The four of us went out for a seriously awkward dinner together, so we can meet her properly. I couldn't stop staring at Rosie, as she was in this sexy lace dress, but she only looked at Andy as if he's the only one in this room. Andy and Belinda went home after that, but Rosie dragged me to a bar and forced me to drink shots. Then she cried on my shoulder about how much she loved Andy and how Belinda was no good for him. It was weird, as a part of me was glad to be close with Rosie, but it was also hard comforting her, when all she did was go on about my best friend. Belinda always bought Andy loads of chocolate bars, and he'd always chuck them over at me. Once I asked him, "If you don't like them, then why don't you tell her?" He stuttered a little. "Nah, it's no big deal. Besides, I've got you to eat them for me." Belinda didn't come over all that much. In fact, Andy didn't seem to spend all that much time with her at all. This didn't go unnoticed by Rosie, who thought their relationship was kinda strange. Andy had saved Belinda's phone number as just her name, nothing cute. Also, when they walked around campus, they stayed kinda apart, at least until anyone they knew saw them. Then they immediately cozied up to each other. Rosie got it into her head that their relationship was fake, and that he was only doing it to make her jealous. I wasn't sure if I believed this or not, but I guess it kinda made sense. I expected Andy and Belinda to break up, only they didn't. By the end of college, they were still together, much to Rosie's annoyance. Meanwhile, Rosie dated a few guys, but it all ended in bad breakups, and it was always me who was there to console her. Once she got upset and drank too much, then blurted out how she must be an awfully ugly person. I laughed and told her that was crazy, as she had no idea just how beautiful she was. She moved in closer to me, and for a few seconds, I actually thought she was going to kiss me. But then she turned her head away and said, "Dunk, you're the sweetest guy. Maybe if we're both single after graduation, then we could date." I just forced a smile. I didn't take what she said seriously, as she was very drunk. She probably wouldn't even remember saying it. She passed out and I had to carry her home, where I had to explain to 3 separate groups of people that she was my friend and I wasn't trying to assault her. After that, I tried to keep my distance from her. My heart just couldn't take it anymore. At our farewell graduation party, Rosie came and said her goodbyes to me. Before she left, she kissed me on the cheek and said, "Looks like we're both single. Call me sometime." Then she winked at me. So it turns out she did remember what she said to me. And she meant it. On our last day in our place, Andy chucked me a chocolate bar. I jokingly told him, "You need to start to learn to eat it because from tomorrow, I won't be here to help you." He let out a thoughtful sigh, then sat down. "Actually, I do love sweets, but I gave them to you because you love them, and I love you, and I have done ever since we first met. I tried to push the feelings away, but it didn't seem to work. I know you like Rosie. That's why I faked the relationship so that you'd have a chance with her. I'm sorry for dropping this bomb on you, but I needed to get it off my chest before we left." I stared at him with a confused look on my face. At first I thought he was joking, but then I realized he was being deadly serious. All this time and I had no idea how he really felt. So now both Rosie and Andy like me. What's going on? I feel so conflicted, so I haven't contacted either of them yet. The problem is, I can't stop thinking about Andy. I'm missing him far more than Rosie. Could I be bisexual? I've never doubted my sexuality before, but this has got me all confused. Please help me out, as I don't know what to do next.